and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, do we have any changes to the tentative agenda?
I have none.
Brings us to meet with department heads and elected officials. We'll start with Jared Lasser, land use.
I'll just keep them busy as usual. We got one item on the agenda, but nothing else to report right now.
Okay. Brooke Marlin, Veterans Affairs.
Good morning. Just keeping busy. We have our next coffee and conversation tomorrow morning, 9 o'clock at Wake and Bake. So veteran spouses are welcome to join us. We're loving to see that group continue to grow. Other than that, we're just keeping busy.
Okay. Chris Lee, Conservation.
Good morning. Just kind of cranking on. We got our Land and Water Conservation Fund grant submitted last week, so we'll anticipate funding award in the next few months, I think. We've got another grant into the REAP CEP program, that's Conservation Education Program, to get a mobile trailer to do education programs kind of out in our parks, take it to the schools, things like that. We've got our our foundation has the annual I Heart County Parks fundraising banquet coming up on April 4th. We encourage everybody to buy tickets to that and come out. That's the foundation's primary fundraiser specifically for us. They do river days as well. That's the fundraiser for them, but this is the banquet specifically for county parks. Other than that, we've got several education programs on the calendar with spring coming. We're going to be looking at getting parks open and ready to go. We've got kind of bipolar weather here. We got 77 degrees today, thunderstorms, and then looks like teens over the weekend. So it's
Yay.
right. Otherwise, I think that's about it.
All right. County Attorney, Lisa.
Where one door closes, another one opens. We
Yay.
were able to
We're doing
complete
it.
a homicide case last month, and of course, I'm sure you're all aware, we have a new murder case that transpired over the weekend. So we just continue to be busy. The weather is warming up. While I agree it's, gonna be a up and down teeter-totter for a while. But as it warms up, people become more social and unfortunately commit more crimes. So we expect to remain busy for the foreseeable future.
That's kind of a problem. They become more social and then they commit crimes. That's not social to me.
Well, maybe you consider it antisocial, but so when I say social, we're having more interactions with people. So there's more chance for confrontation and conflict. Unfortunately, that's just the way of the world as people are out and about more than just in their homes.
Janelle Nellie Longquist, Treasurer.
Good morning. We're just keeping busy. It's March, so those second half property taxes are due and they are coming in, and yeah, we're busy.
Okay. Rodney Gleasner, Maintenance.
Good morning. Everything's going pretty well, so nothing new to report this morning.
Okay. Brandon, IT.
Just keep them busy. Nothing really new to report.
Okay. KG, County Sheriff.
Good morning. Plenty going on for us as well. It's gotten pretty busy for us. For the board, we had the Greater Burlington Partnership Leadership class out at the jail last week. Did a tour and presentation on the jail. That all went well. It's always nice to talk to future leaders in the community and kind of update them on county government, sheriff's office in particular. We have a career fair tomorrow at Mediapolis that we'll be at, and then the jail this morning was at 84 adults and 1 juvenile, 14 out of count.
Sarah Marie, Auditor.
Good morning. So still accepting paperwork for county officials until the 20th at 5 p.m. Cheryl and I will be gone the rest of this week for ISAC, along with some other department heads. Just keep them busy.
What'd I forget? Did I get everybody?
Sure.
Jared? Huh? Did I get you?
Yeah, that was yours first one.
Brian Carter.
Thanks, Shane.
You're welcome, friend.
Contract rock haul did wrap up, so, that's done and over. We have started up our county rock haul, which is a little earlier than normal. Obviously, the weather kind of changes day to day, as it's already been mentioned, so sometimes we're going, sometimes we're not, but with the extra hauling that's gonna happen with the DOT project out of L&W Quarry, or I guess now Viking Quarry, depending on how modern you wanna be with your naming of it. We decided to try to get some of our local rock hauled, before they get overwhelmed by DOT contractors. So we are in the process of doing that, like I said, playing the weather game. I'll be getting with all three of you to come up with a Tuesday that works for you to go look at construction program projects. We are coming up on the time frame when I'll put a 5-year construction program in front of you. I'll remind the media they're more than welcome to go along on that. We'll visit a little bit of past stuff, look at some future stuff, and just kind of talk about the county as a whole as far as construction goes. Other than that, I don't have anything beyond that.
Man, that was fast. All righty then.
Keep you on track.
All right. All right, that brings us to discussion and vote. First, we have Danville Telecom Fiber Infrastructure presentation.
Yeah, good morning, Gina Parsons. I am the general manager at Danville Telecom, which you all may have heard is now an IMON company. I have Mike Baker here, he's our senior sales and operations manager. He'll be working closely on the project. Quick recap, I think Sarah provided you guys the maps up there. You worked with the general manager before, Tim Fensel, in 2020, I believe.
Yeah.
Yep, and you gave Danville Telecom $355,000 of ARPA funds to bring broadband to underserved areas in Moines County.
Yeah,
I believe Tim Fensel identified those locations within the county that were underserved. And underserved is considered 100 meg, you get 100 meg less. If you're less than 100 meg download, less than 20 meg upload. He presented those to you guys, I believe in 2020, and you approved the area north of Danville with the understanding that we would build to as many homes as we could for the money and also complete the project before the end of 2026. So we are ready to get started on that. Wanted to make you aware of that and wanted to make sure you had the opportunity to ask questions of us today if you had any.
I'd like to jump in, since this will impact me far more than you. We've had all sorts of trouble with IMON in the past. Their subcontractors have been terrible. They're horrible at communicating. They make a mess sometimes, and then they won't want to talk to you when you show up. So we've worked very well with Danville in the past, but I want to make it clear if that continues, we'll kick them out of county.
Yeah, we'll ensure that is met.
We understand that, yes. And
Yeah.
Mike will be working closely with the project.
That's fine. No, we've worked very well with Danville, but when I hear the word IMON, I think of contractors we find after hours doing stuff they don't have permits for.
Wow.
So we'll just get that line out there right now.
All right. Anything else we need to get out there right
So
now?
the communication needs to be with my office.
Are you still on schedule to have it done by the end of 2026?
Yes. Yep.
You should.
Once we get started, it'll move quickly.
Great.
I'm not sure if permits have started getting called in or.
I don't believe so, but I know they're working on it.
How many homes will have the opportunity to?
I think right now it's showing 18. There is opportunity for expansion beyond that. IMON does set things up to expand further in the future.
Mike, is that getting the ones that's going up Jimtown Road there?
Yeah, it'd be north,
And then-
Jimtown north.
Jimtown, all the way on Jimtown Road will have
All
access
north,
to
yeah.
it. And then on west of them where Mediapolis Telecom doesn't come in then, right?
It'll be north of Jimtown, kind of
Yeah.
built out.
That map was kind of hard for me.
Yeah, it's hard to
Names
understand.
on it, Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll go north, but we're gonna leave expansion out, so
Yeah.
well, the map you have now is what we're projecting to show us the expenses. We're gonna have expansion going east of there. East is Des Moines County, still west is Henry County.
Good. Thank you.
It's still the same locations that was presented previously, just presented in a different format.
We look forward to seeing you complete.
Thank you.
If you guys have a consultant putting together your permits and plans, like a lot of do, they're welcome to call us and have preliminary conversations. It might save even 2 to 3 weeks during a permit review. If they wanna call and ask what they need to do with culverts, where we want them in general,
And we,
stuff like that.
we have walked them through like what we've always done with you guys.
Yep.
So the plan is to build it the exact same we always have.
Okay, well, if they have questions, we're happy to try to work in advance with them and make that process go smoother.
And we'll make sure there's plenty of communication with you.
Sounds good?
Everybody satisfied? Okay. Appreciate it. Thanks for coming in, guys. And if you want to leave, you can get on that. I think I'm looking for it now.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Okay, next we have a resolution, 2026-017, a final plat of first edition to Hidden Prairie subdivision here.
Well, this is a minor subdivision, a little bit north of Burlington, off of White Camp Road. It's part of the original Hidden Prairie subdivision was a 10-lot deal back in the late 90s. It had a new private road, Hidden Prairie Drive, created to serve the individual lots off of White Camp. And then one of those lots was later split up as the Kincaid's addition for an additional 6 lots. So there's already a number of home lots out there. This is involves one of the larger lots from that original subdivision. Lot 7 is about 13 acres. Already has a home on the north side of the property. There's a pond in the middle and then some open area to the south. Plan is for a family member of the property owner to split off 5 acres at the southeast corner for building another house. And so that's why it's the first addition to Hidden Prairie. It is landlocked, so there is a 33-foot wide easement extending along an existing driveway that connects to Hidden Prairie Drive. Most of that is currently used to get to a barn and pasture area at the southwest corner of the property, and then this would just extend east to meet this new lot. So in terms of the review process, no major concerns were brought up. We just have the standard condition on the resolution, since it involves a proposed new house, that they would need to get a septic permit filed before they start building, and then have it installed before the home is occupied. So that recommend approval is submitted.
Okay, can I get a motion?
Sure, thank you for sending it out,
No problem.
all the stuff, and I'll make the motion.
Second.
Moved in second. Sarah Marie?
Jim Carrey,
Yes.
Tom Brooker,
Yes.
Shane McCampbell.
Yep. We'll just sign these when we get done.
Good.
Thank you, Jared. Next, we have a notice of request of proposals, RFP for Realtor, Trent.
Yes, so, we've had a couple of work sessions on this. It was decided that we wanted to go with a realtor to sell the old Redemption Center as well as the lots next to it. So we have the request for proposal put together. Once this is approved, we need to send it to at least 3 different realtors, brokerages, real estate offices. And I think we're gonna notice it through some local area realtor notice platform as well.
Mobile listing.
Yes, yeah. So, so once that's approved, we'll get that sent out, and then, it was decided we need to give them about a month. And at that time, once we have that, we'll have resolutions to dispose of the land to go with that.
Okay. Can I get a motion? Do I need a motion for that?
I've got something related. I read a troubling article in the paper over the weekend about the way some people were treated. It sounds like out at Hope Haven, I don't remember the name of the, I guess I can tell you, the Walton Group Home. And they apparently, the allegation is that they've used some of the residents' money to pay for office furniture, supplies, and whatnot. Some of it sounded like abuse to me. Anyway, it doesn't have any effect on selling this property. The county doesn't want it, they don't want it. But we'd all agreed that money was donated by people who wanted those services to be provided in Des Moines County. I would like somebody from Imagine the Possibilities to come here and walk us through this. This is, there's no names, or, you know, it said supervisor number 1 and supervisor number 2, and I don't know who any of those people were, and I'm not accusing anybody, but I would like to know what happened. Has it been fixed before? Now I think we have to look at that and make sure that they're providing those services that money was donated for. What are you guys familiar with that article?
Oh, I didn't read it.
I read that article and it was real concerning.
It's a fairly long article. I've got 7 printed pages out.
Yep.
Anyway, so with that said, and I didn't know exactly where to stick that in, I thought that was too late to get on the agenda, but I'd like maybe reach out to them and say that we would like to be walked through that. Anyway, so did you, and I missed it, did you move to approve that notice of the request for proposals? Jim, I apologize, if you didn't, I'll make a motion to approve that notice.
I'll second it, but we don't have to turn that money over
No.
for the sale to them until we find out and have that. You want to throw that in with?
Well, no, I just said there's no reason we couldn't sell it.
No.
We don't want it. We'd like to see it back in you know, private hands. But the money would be for those
resident.
services to be provided.
Yeah.
And I'd like somebody to assure us that that's what's going to happen.
When did that article come out, Tom?
Friday.
Right.
Which
It was a nice
is
article.
not article. But anyway, there's I read it a couple times and have a number of questions. And I'm sure you guys will too.
It doesn't say how far back it went, though. It does.
I think it said 9 years somewhere,
Yeah.
but I don't know exactly what that was. But yeah, I would
I'll second that motion.
I would like to so anyway, if I motion to approve proposal for a realtor, or did you just second it? I apologize, I'm
Yep, he seconded.
preoccupied on this.
Sarah Marie, let's go.
Tom Broker?
Yes.
Jim Carrey?
Yes.
Shane McCampbell?
Yes. Next we have Class C liquor license for Harvest View Farms. KG.
No concerns with the application for them or for 34 Wasteway, which is the next one to vote.
Move to approve.
Second.
Moved in second. Sarah Marie.
Jim Carrey?
Yes.
Tom Broker?
Yes.
Shane McCampbell?
Yep. Next we have a Class C liquor license for Premier Dirt Promotions, Inc. Again, KG, you said you've got no problems.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Moved in second. Sarah Marie.
Tom Broker?
Yes.
Jim Carrey?
Yeah.
Shane McCampbell?
Yep. Next we have reports, recorder's report, and fees collected February 26, Veterans Affairs Monthly Report, February 2026, and clerk's reports and fees collected February 2026. These will be on file.
The sheriff's report's in there too. It just went down to the next line.
Oh, sheriff's report,
Sorry.
fees collected, yep, okay. So these will be on file in the auditor's office. You can Look at them at your leisure. Next, we have minutes for the regular meeting on March 3rd, 2026.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Moved in second, Sarah Marie?
Tom Broker,
Yes.
Jim Carrey,
Yes.
Shane McCampbell.
Yeah, I watched on YouTube. Hmm? Oh, I should, did I need to stamp all those?
Yep.
Thanks, Jimmy. Actually, that's all the same. Okay, do we have any future agenda items?
I have none.
I have none.
Committee reports.
I have none.
I attended the Emergency Management Commission held a public hearing for a budget amendment to account for, give a spending authority for a $90,000 grant to buy a solar generator. Grant had no match. They're just gonna give us the 90K.
I had Conservation Board, Trish pretty much covered it. And I had Workforce Development Board, the youth board. And the hot button still is CNAs. So there's jobs out there to get, you know, come on and get them. That's all I had. So, now we come to public input. We would love to hear from you. So if you would like to, if you want to call in, you can call in at 319-753-8282. Again, that's 319-753-8282. You can always email us at board, B-O-A-R-D, at dmcounty.com. That's board, B-O-A-R-D, at dmcounty.com. And those of you that are here, if you have anything you want to get off your chest, go ahead and let's get it out. Anybody with any comments? We've got a talkative group here today. Woo! Yes, sir.
Yeah, well, I'll just reiterate, you know, that you guys.
Can you give us your name too?
Oh, Tom Upton.
Yeah.
And sorry I didn't do that part. But anyway, I just thank you for what you're doing. You guys, it takes a lot to actually do what you do. People don't really understand that. That's why we're here, just to give you some support. And of course, you know, if there's an issue, we do want to know about it. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Tom. We can't get used to that. Wow. Hey, the sky's falling. All right. No, we appreciate that. Thanks, Tom. Thanks, Tom. Anybody else with a comment? Everybody satisfied? Okay. With an eye, we're adjourned.
Aye.
We've got a work session following. We're gonna take a quick break and then we'll come back with a work session, discussion of jail exercise room remodel, setting the sheriff's office front entry project. Thanks, everybody. You guys have been fantastic. Okay, this is our work session with the sheriff, discussion of jail exercise room remodel study and sheriff's office front entry project. So KG, it's all you.
Thank you, gentlemen. I'll apologize in advance. I'm battling a bit of a cold, so struggle with me here. I'll start on the jail. This is something we've talked about for several years. And I'll start off by saying I'm not recommending that this is something that the jail remodel is what we should do, but I think we have reached that moment where we need to determine what the cost is going to be to make it happen. A little bit of background is our jail was built in 94, 95. The years that led up to that, I don't remember, but I've been taught on the history of it, is that they looked at the cost to be able to build that jail. The original plan for it was for a higher population. They couldn't get the funds together to make it happen, or I should say, they had the funds to make it happen. They went out for bid, and the bids were exceeded what they had allotted. So they scaled it back, and instead of doing a complete remodel, they added, they made 2 of the units into exercise areas. So that's what we have today is 2 bigger exercise areas that were originally designed to be units. That's why our jail was really built undersized. Our jail is undersized with a population on average. Most jails, if you look at averages, most jails for counties our population exceed 100 head count. We can hold 68 plus 12, and that plus 12 is less than 24 hours in our intake area. So that is a big reason that we house out of county. There's obviously many other contributing factors to that, but we are undersized. We work on that every day through crime. I mean, the best way to keep people out of jail is lower crime rate, and we invest in that. We work really hard on that, and we're really headed in the right direction, and that's our goal. We've consistently, over the last 8 years or so, averaged about between right around $275,000, $280,000 annually in out-of-county housing. That number has grown, and not because we're housing more, but because the cost has grown. The cost to house inmates has moved from what we were paying $30 or so 10 years ago to right now we're averaging about $65 a day. So our out-of-county has actually gone down. The numbers have gone down that we're housing out-of-county, but the cost has more than doubled the daily cost.
Quick question, has the cost of housing someone out of county grown faster than the cost to take care of a prisoner here?
Yes, our budget has not doubled at the jail in that amount of time, so it is more than doubled. The problem with it is this, or when you look at these numbers, is we can house in our jail, we may be spending $65 to house out of county. The moment we house them here, it doesn't mean that we save $65. It means we save about $30 to $35 because then we have the cost of the medical, the food, the disposables. Those are mattresses, linens, toothpaste, shampoo, all those things, the daily cost. The big part of that is the 3 meals a day and the medical, what it costs to house an inmate. So we don't get rid of the $65. So if we're spending $350,000 as we're spending this year on out of county, if we house them here, that doesn't mean we save $350,000. We save about $175, somewhere in that neighborhood. We still have costs to house them here. So our return on investment, if we spend $1 million or $2 million on an expansion, that doesn't mean we save that $350,000 annually. The big part of
what it does mean is that the cost to house them away from a jail that we control is growing faster than to take care of a few more extra prisoners here.
Yeah. And that's the big thing that we look at is what those numbers are doing. I think we're seeing reduced crime not only in Des Moines County, but in a lot of counties across the state. So it's been a little bit helpful, I think, in controlling that expense because there's not as many inmates. That's a positive thing. But here recently, over the last year, I'd say that's just changed slightly with the issues, to be frank, on the state level of probation and parole, that the state's not holding inmates that I believe that they should. They get very short terms, they get probation, they get parole, and then they violate those restrictions, and then they end up back in our jails. So we have a large number of our inmates in our county jails that are probation and parole violations that we're holding. Getting off track, but those are some of the issues that lead up to where we're at today. We've seen our crime rate significantly lowered in Des Moines County. And we've seen our jail population come down also, especially since its height in 2017, 2018. We've seen those numbers come down. But there's been issues that have been handed to us that are out of our control that we continue to work on at the legislative level. This year, there's a habitual violator bill that I hope to see happen. It creates a fresh start for those that commit felonies and aggravated misdemeanors, but it's a 3-strike and it's on a point system where they have a mandatory minimum of 20 years. And the hope is that it's an actual mandatory minimum. It's not that you do a year or two and then you get released on community-based corrections or something along those lines. But it's those habitual violators that we continue to deal with in and out of our jails that cause these issues for us.
Let me ask you one thing on this here, let's say it goes up $300,000 a year. If your expansion, how are you going to get them? Are you going to have to hire more help for this?
So
how much help are you going to hire?
Yeah, so great question, because back to what we can house for on a daily rate, we're spending about $110, $115 per day to house them here in Des Moines County, to operate that facility, to provide the manpower. That's what it costs us in that range. But our numbers isn't going to go up to 110, or it's not going to cost us $110 or $115 per day, because we've done a staffing survey. We've looked at what we can absorb with the current staffing, and we can absorb one unit remodel. So one of these unit remodels is going to add 15 to 18 beds. The goal is about 18, but because of the way we want to build these units just a little bit different, it may reduce us down to 15 because of the square footage requirements for the cells. That's all to be determined when they get into the schematics and drawings, but we can absorb that within our current manpower. And there may be busier times when it comes to med pass, when it comes to food, delivering meals, those kinds of things. There will be added tasks, but it actually creates safety as opposed to going the other way, because it gives us the ability to classify appropriately. When people come in, by code, we're required to classify based on violent offenses, sex offender, gender, obviously, but being able to classify those inmates and put them in the right units so that we can have that separation, that we can have max security or general population security, those different levels, and have the appropriate classification, it really does help us. As opposed to right now on a daily basis, we're battling who should be in our max, who should be in our super max. We're constantly balancing that of how we classify that. So this would actually help with added classification options within this unit. But yes, we can absorb that within the manpower, but no doubt, I would expect that the correctional officers and potentially the union's going to say, hey, this is more work, we need more people. This actually creates safety. And by what we've looked at for other correctional centers, of what we can absorb on a daily basis, we can absorb this number, our population going up by 15 to 80.
Your staffing now out of jail is how many?
We have 22 full-time correctional officers.
22 full-time correctional officers?
That includes our jail administrator, that includes Coulter.
Okay, and that's for basically 80 people?
Yes. Yeah.
So you're
We
gonna
typically don't have 80, but up to 80. Yeah,
I'm just trying to get my head around this. If you have to hire people, the time you pay the insurance, the wages and everything, in the long run, it might be cheaper to pay that $300,000.
And that's the position we've been in for the last decade, and there's no doubt about it. And that's what I'm here to propose today or to discuss today is the cost to arrive at what this costs. And so we've gotten a proposal from Carly Nelson to look at putting together the drawings, plans, and cost estimates That cost would be about $17,890 is what they put together for a proposal, to tell us what's it going to cost. And, if this thing is gonna cost 1.6, 1.8 million, right now, it doesn't make sense for us to do it, in my opinion. If it's significantly less than that, then maybe it does make sense, to look at that. But this is probably the number that we need to be able to wrap our mind around, to be able to say, where are we at? What's this gonna cost? And our return on those dollars, and the options it gives us. Because I don't see this ever going away in the future. This is going to be something that we're gonna constantly look at, but it really depends on where we're at cost-wise to complete this expansion of one of these units. So with that, if the board wants to move forward with looking at that, we have some options within our funds at the jail. We have what's called inmate funds, and this would be usable for those funds that we have in that 008 line. We have funds there, but I say that with caution because we have those funds earmarked for transport vehicles for the next 2 years, and for some inmate safety items. Safety items for correctional officers, safety items for inmates, body camera stuff, those kinds of items that we have here, those funds earmarked for. And those funds are going to significantly decrease, is what we've learned over the last couple of months. And that's because of an FCC regulation on what counties or any government can recoup on phone call rates and video visitation rates. They reduced that down to 2 cents. That ruling's gonna come into effect early April 6th, but likely our providers can move to that April 1st. So we're gonna see a reduce in what we're able to recoup on those rates. Pretty much I'm here to discuss or get direction if the board would like to move forward with this cost study, which would cost almost $18,000, and if so, where we could fund that from.
Where were you planning on funding that from?
Well, I had in mind that we could use it from
the
inmate funds line that we have. This would be for the betterment. This is kind of the goal that I have in mind. But I just wanted to make that note that in my budget presentation, I do talk about this is kind of the 5-year improvement plan, and in that plan, I plan for those funds to be able to buy some vehicles for inmate transport and movements, and I do have some concerns about that over the next several years and what's going to happen with those funds.
And what are you thinking that this is going to cost? Do you have an idea at all?
I've been given rough estimates from I'd say 2 good sources of around 1.6. I've been told that those numbers haven't softened by one of them, and I've been told that those numbers have softened by another. So I'm interested to see of where this is going to land. Polk County did a almost identical renovation a couple years ago, so they're going off of some of those expenses. Theirs was on a 3rd floor though, and ours is on the main level, much more accessible, and it's on an exterior wall with an exterior door. So movement of the materials that would need to get in there would obviously be a lot easier. It's much more accessible. We can control security because we have an exterior door, and we would just lock down the interior. So that's a big part of what's it take to get all these materials into the unit that you're remodeling, and ours is much easier than what they faced.
And what are we averaging for that we're shipping people out of county?
We've averaged over the last 8 years about 270, 275, but this year we're going to spend $350,000.
How much?
$350.
I think you have to know that number. I don't think there's any discussion about that. You have to know that number to decide where do we go? Do we just keep taking this? And like you already told us, that spread's gonna keep getting larger because the out-of-county housing is gonna grow faster than what it would cost to keep those people in our own facility. I would be, okay with spending that out of that particular fund. And quite honestly, I'm not so sure we couldn't squeeze that into the line of credit.
And I feel the same way. I think we need to know that number at this point. And so we can at least wrap our minds around that and where we land if this project should be moved forward,
but we've talked about this for some time.
Yeah, it really depends on that number.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna have to get the study. That's what
And actually for the $17,890, that's a lot of money, but for something like that, I don't think that's out of hand.
That number started higher, and we've had some conversations.
I'll bet it did, but if you would've asked me to guess what that estimate was gonna cost you, I would've guessed more than that.
It involves looking at electrical alarms, doors, plumbing, everything that are in there. It's going to be involved, and they're going to be able to provide us drawings. So that'll be a very helpful start.
Yeah, no, I think this is a number that the county has to have.
James?
Well, I agree, I'm just trying to wrap my head around the 1.5. It's gonna have to go to vote if we should shove for that.
Oh, yeah.
And, sure be nice if they could bring them pre-made cement cells in with all that stuff. Get 16 of them in there.
Yeah, it's actually 10 cells as what we're looking at. 2 of them would be max cells, so single person cells.
Yeah.
And then the other 8 would be set up for double occupancy, but not necessarily always used as double occupancy. Some of the thoughts that are behind this is one of the big issues we also have is folks coming in that are suffering from substance abuse, opioid use, and mental health. All those combined, and then we have them sitting in our intake area. I have begun to explore options of the ability to use opioid funding dollars for that as a portion of that. The Attorney General's office opened up a grant option. I like the idea of submitting a proposal there to be able to use some of those fund dollars. Also speaking with the board about being able to use some of our own opioid fund dollars that are available.
Yeah.
But I also want to make sure that it's going to be something that qualifies, and to me, I believe it does. I believe that we need to provide better treatment. As I've mentioned to the board in the past, they're coming into us, and I'd love to be able to provide a level of treatment that can help them be successful when they leave us.
You can only do that if they're here.
Right. And we have a captive audience, they're here. And I'd love to be able to provide treatment there. And that's where I come to the square footage issues of how many cells we're gonna be able to provide. Because I would consider looking at adding a medical room within there, within this unit, and a gathering area where actual treatment services could be provided within this unit specifically. And do that in conjunction with a provider. Peer support, treatment, those level of services that could happen within the unit. But I do want to make sure that this is something that would qualify for those funding dollars. And so I'm looking at asking for some of those dollars that are being provided through the grant at the Attorney General's office, but also would likely, as long as we can get that approval, would speak with the board about using some of those funding dollars as well.
No problem.
Sounds good.
So if it's okay with the board, I'll move forward with this, and I will come back with a budget amendment to either use the funding line that we discussed, for potential capital improvement dollars wherever the availability is at the time. But I'll make sure I keep an eye on when our budget amendment deadline is and ask for those funding dollars at that time or when we need them.
That's good.
Okay. Moving on to the sheriff's office front entry, just wanted more of an update on this, and Rodney and Brian have been heavily involved in the discussions on this, so gentlemen, feel free to jump in. We've discussed costs on the front entry project, $35,000 to $40,000 it was the range we were discussing. The problem that's been identified with the front entry is that the existing two-story building that was next to it and how it was connected, there's some concerns of what's in there and the unknown of how it was actually put together structurally. And it's been fairly difficult to get a straight answer on what it's going to take and what the costs are going to be. And what the answer comes down to is it's going to have to be demoed to a certain level before that can even be determined, because there's things that can't be seen behind brick of what's holding up what. If anything is holding up what, that's...
I've seen some roofs and some walls demoed. You go. and surprise, surprise, surprise.
There are some surprises in there, and that's kind of what's anticipated. We did get an estimate from Klinger that was higher than what was expected for those design services. That was $18,000 just for the design, and then some additional dollars up to $32,000 for the bidding and then contract handling the bidding and contract execution. And talking with Brian and Rodney about how to move forward on this, I guess I've arrived at the opinion, and this is me, is I think it's going to take a step process with the right contractors to handle the demo, and there's going to be a time in there that when demo happens, it's going to be unfinished and it's going to be very visible. We'll have to secure it, but to reach that point, we're going to have to reach that point so that the concrete contractor can make some determinations of what's necessary for the concrete and the ramp to make entry. And then a determination by the contractor on how to move forward with the vertical structure of the building. So it's something that we've discussed already about moving forward with, but I just kind of want to update the board at this point that with the design costs, that's kind of the way that we're leaning, and in our discussions that we've had. And again, if I say anything, feel free to jump in. But where I'm leaning is that we get the demolition accomplished through a contractor, leave what's there structurally, and then we're gonna have to button it up so we can do the concrete. But it might be buttoned up for just a little bit as we move forward on that.
And we've got a little breathing room on that, because we were gonna do that front entry. So Rodney and Brian came in with that screaming great number for the parking, the actual parking lot, which made it a little more comfortable to, not that we wanna, hopefully all is well when you open the wall up, it looks better than you thought, but there's a little breathing room there.
I think Kevin's after the most economical option. We did talk to Klinger, and Klinger kind of they wanted to either do all of it or none of it, is kind of the feeling I got, and we were interested, I think, in trying to use some of our, I won't call it expertise, but abilities to offset some of the expenses, not to take them away from somebody, but just simply to save money. And so with that thought, I think Kevin's concept of having somebody, a local that's comfortable coming in, getting things exposed, just simply to get more information. You know, it might be good news, might be bad news, but it'd be news one way or the other, and information we don't have, rather than flying blind and perhaps spending a premium because of flying blind. I think it's a good start. I think the ramp side of it, I mean, you're talking, in my opinion, two different projects here. Even though they're obviously up against each other, The vertical side of it is very much its own animal. The rest of it, they interact with each other, but if we can get some more information and perhaps everything's good news and the contractor can keep on and the entry can get done properly, and then maybe we can just simply change order the ramp, which is really turns into a continuation of the parking job of the parking lot into the parking lot project, and that same concrete contractor sitting there would go ahead and do it at the same time, which we discussed that all the way back. Now, maybe not, there's a lot of maybes, there's not really a bunch of reasons to sit here and guess, but I think we can try to be as economical as possible right off the bat, and then again, adjust as we get information. So that seems to fit with what Kevin and Rodney and I have talked about. But that's just kind of my take, and they can correct me if I'm wrong.
What's the time frame? What's the ETA on that?
Ideally is to get started with demo before they, or as even, they're starting on removing the old parking lot.
Okay.
But I'm waiting on some numbers back from Barn Grover. They were going to put together numbers for the storefront, but also put together numbers for the demo portion that would happen initially. That would be subbed by them. I don't have those numbers yet.
Okay.
We had a preliminary design from Barn Grover to do the vertical portion, the glass and whatnot. And then he came back down after we made a few changes and had it opened up last week and was able to look at what he'll be looking at. So he was able to take a look at that. He's going to put together kind of some new numbers for us of where we're going to be at.
How soon do you think you'll have those numbers?
I
mean, within
think
the next-
maybe this week.
Okay. Yeah, I'd love to hear what those numbers look like, but, yeah.
His initial storefront numbers, and the glass that we're looking at, there's a little bit more glass now of what we're looking at because of some of the brick that will be removed. But those initial numbers were right around $8,000 for the doors, the openers, the locks, all that included. But we've added kind of the portion up above that would cover up the building, the brick level that comes above the storefront, where they essentially put a coverage panel over that to update that, modernize that for that entryway, similar to that drawing that we showed you previously during our budget. That's basically what he's looking at, to add these panels in addition to the storefront area. So when I get those numbers, I'll be sure to get those to the board.
The picture you showed us earlier, Bob Gardner is that guy's name that had that.
Came to you.
Huh?
It came to you, Bob.
Yeah, Bob Gardner had Bob Stagecoach. So, Tom used to shoot pool in there.
Tom shot pool with Moses, but anyways.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Kevin,
Okay.
what impact would an actual detox unit in this area have on your intake process and the number of, I know it's an issue.
So I think that the biggest impact it's going to have is to be able to provide a level of service that would be improved. Our intake area, our 4 intake cells, we're able to put we have 4 intake cells, we're able to put 3 inmates in each cell. So that's where that extra 12 comes from for our intake. Unfortunately, when they're at that detox level, sometimes that takes more than 24 hours and they have to remain in that area for a longer duration, and it's just not a good place to be. What I want to do is be able to provide cells that provide their own sink, their own shower, their own toilet, those facilities within those cells that would actually be able to allow us to move them up to the unit sooner and not remain in that intake area. because they are dealing with some, it's difficult. They're coming down.
Not every detox, I know a little bit about this, not every detox is just throw them in here and let them just dry up either. It's
Correct.
kind of not, it's dangerous.
Yeah.
For some to not be able to detox without some sort of supervision and maybe an intervention.
Yeah, and we have a nurse on staff that helps with that, who has direct contact with a provider, but we're also learning more and more about MOOD, medicated opioid use disorder, and how to administer that, and the improvements that can have on them being successfully not turning back to opioids when they release opioids or other substance abuse. When they release, that there's been a stigma about medicated opioid use disorder medications. The more we learn about it, the success rates and what the doctors are seeing and finding is that there can be some success with that. It's something that in the right situation we would be willing to explore. There's other correctional facilities, county correctional facilities across Iowa that are beginning to use this. We actually had a presentation at our past jail school here just a week or two ago, where we covered this. We discussed it, and we're building relationships with the providers of this.
Thank you, because I know there's not an actual dedicated detox facility nearby.
No, it's
Iowa City, Iowa City is the closest detox.
Wow.
The hospital doesn't really want detoxing individuals. It's a gap.
Yeah, and the truth is they're ending up in our care, in our custody, and to
Because
be
they
able to
usually do
provide
something during detox sometimes that requires that they be there.
Yeah, and that's what ends up happening. There's a minor law violation, and there's such a lack of answers for both inpatient beds and detox that they're ending up in our facility anyway. And if there's an opportunity, I know there's going to be different opinions on how to best use funding dollars, but the truth is they are ending up in our custody and care. And if we can provide a heightened level of care, it's something that I believe in. That it's something we can do better in, but it takes funding, and we need to have the ability to have the right providers there, the right services, and a unit that can provide that level of care.
Yeah, Band-Aid approach won't do much good for anybody, so.
No, it's let's fund this for a year, let's fund that for a year, and that I do think that there's outpatient level services. They've done really well on that, and that's nothing against the providers that are providing them. The outpatient level of services have grown, but that was the plan by the state, is to provide community-based care, outpatient services. The truth is that inpatient services are expensive, but those that needed the inpatient services aren't getting inpatient services, they're getting arrested. And they're coming into our jail, and that's where they're ending up because of the lack of services. So it's something that we could improve on, but we're gonna have to have the unit and have the funding.
Thanks.
Yep. Appreciate your time, gentlemen.
Well, we appreciate what you're going through, Kevin.
Yeah, we will move forward.